You still hear me?
What's going on, Nerd Nation? It's your boy Chris. We're back. Another episode of the Average Sports Nerds live on YouTube every Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. So if you're listening to this at a later date, you want to listen live, that's how you do it. But we're here right now. I'm joined as always by my guy Miles Davis. What's going on, man?
Yo, what's up, Chris? And glad to be back. Sorry I had a miss last week, but let's talk about some NFL. Let's talk about a little bit of NBA, a little bit of combat sports. So let's get into this.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. You missed. I wouldn't say you missed that much last week. Week 2 of the NFL. I'm sure
Right.
you were covering, you were following. So on to week 3 now. But we do want to talk about a couple other sports, like you mentioned, basketball, combat sports. We could start in the NBA world. I think this big news. I'm sad that we're not joined today by Alex, our resident Philly fan, Sixers, Eagles, because this one's Sixer news. Alex, I'm sure, will be back next week, so we'll bring it up again, talk to him about it. But Ben Simmons apparently has not spoken to the 76ers team, like the organization, since the end of last season, and, quote, intends to never play for them again. What are your thoughts on that situation? Because I thought that came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah, I mean it's a sticky situation as far as from both sides. I think I can see why both sides are frustrated. I think Ben Simmons kind of feels like kind of all of Philadelphia just kind of gave up on him. No one believes in him, but that the only reason no one believes in him because it doesn't seem like he believes in himself. That's what it looks like to me. I can't talk about a professional athlete as if I could do any better, but it just looks like the guy is going out there and he's not playing with any heart. He's not playing with the desire to improve, to get better. I mean, anyone can go search up the guy's stats and they're going to look pretty much the same since his rookie season. Actually, like got slightly worse, believe it or not.
Especially
Maybe
in
he's
this year's playoffs.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, and we can jump right into the playoffs. I mean, he just poor free throw shooting, just a lot of just mental stuff that I think he could get over. And I think now that the relationship with the organization and him is just so sour, there's no coming back from it. I mean, personally, I think he's acting unprofessional. Dude, show up to camp. They signed you to a long-term contract extension. You need to be there, even if you don't want to play for the organization. Just at least be on the bench or just show up to training camp. Do something, man. I mean, don't just not show up. I mean, he's got his teammates coming out trying to get him to come back because they believe in him, and he's just already checked. He's mentally checked out, which I can understand. But I mean, in the end, it all kind of falls back on him. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm with you. I understand a little bit why he would be frustrated. I'm not saying that they threw him under the bus because I feel like he kind of threw himself under the bus
Right.
with his play. It was clear for everyone to see. There's not really much going around it. Like, we know that the main reason that they lost that series was because Ben Simmons was pretty much unplayable down the stretch in all those games against the Hawks. So starting there, I mean, I understand why they're frustrated, but they also didn't like lift him up. I mean, I feel like Doc Rivers tried to at the beginning
Right.
of it when teams started fouling, and he said that there's no way that he would take Ben Simmons off the court. And the teams tested him, and eventually it got to a point where he had to take him off the court. So I don't really blame Doc. I I feel for the guy, Ben Simmons. That is, I mean, look, he's a grown man, and like you said, it's not like we could do any better. But he's an NBA player, and hey, we're here to talk about it. So I gotta say it. Look, you got to get better, and he hasn't done that. He hasn't improved his free throw shooting. He still will not attempt a shot outside the paint, even though every summer, including just today, I think I saw a video of him shooting jumpers, making turnaround shots, but he refuses to even attempt them come NBA time. So
And can I add good form
it's
too?
on him. Yeah, yeah, he has decent form, like for
Just
sure.
just shoot the. He's better form than Giannis, but at least Giannis will shoot him.
Yeah, and like I feel like he has more touch and like things of that nature than Giannis. And
Right.
like you said, Giannis is willing to shoot. He came up big in the finals, as we know, at the line.
Huge.
I don't see Ben Simmons doing that. His confidence seems to be shot.
Yeah. And I think it kind of the relationship kind of got severed a little bit too when they tried to trade for James Harden. But at the end of the day, you pretty much trade almost anybody. There's probably like 5 players that you wouldn't trade for James Harden in the whole NBA. Five or
Right.
six, seven, maybe. So I mean, I don't think that's an insult to Ben Simmons. I would feel honored that they felt like I was valuable enough to just be traded almost essentially pretty much for James Harden. Of course, there's going to be some draft picks involved, but you know what I mean.
Right. The fact
So,
that Houston would be looking at him as that type of player as a replacement.
right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. Look, James Harden, MVP,
Yeah.
former scoring champ. Now, obviously, we know about
Assist champ.
his struggles in the playoffs some of those times, but hey, not many people can say they won scoring title and MVP, and like you said, assist leader. So, yeah, like
Yeah.
it's business, and I feel
It's
like you
business.
said,
Yeah.
he's being unprofessional, and I would even say childish. So,
Yeah. I mean, just to not show up and just cut all ties with the team after you still got what does he have 4 years left on the contract? So
yeah, he signed a
they
max
owe
like
him a lot.
last year.
Yeah, they owe him a lot of money. So it is what it is. I mean, now and I also think he's just kind of lowering his drafts. I mean, not draft trade value. Teams aren't going to want him, but
Yeah, he's honestly messing up the situation even more by doing this. Maybe if he
yeah,
showed up, had some good games to start the season or something, maybe a team would be interested in going out and getting him. But
right.
it's I don't know where they go from here. But like I said, we'll get Alex's thoughts on that one next week. I know he probably has a little bit more insight, just what's going on, the ins and outs of the team. So it's always good to hear from him on the Philly sports teams for sure. But from there, we can get into the NFL. I know it's Sunday night. We just got through a bunch of crazy games. We had NFL records being broken, teams winning and losing right at the end of the game. You know, we have that every single week, it seems like. The NFL, the most competitive league, I feel like. And we can start with our fantasy league because I know we like to do that. We've been going strong with it. It's week 3. We did our fantasy draft live. What was that? I think 4 weeks ago now.
Right.
So we can start. I've actually played against Miles this week.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't
week for me.
I didn't realize it got to that point. The last time I had checked, it was a lot closer. Do you want to give them the score, or do you want me to do it?
Hey man, you talk, man. You're the one winning.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll say coming in, I was 2-0. Miles 1-1. So right now we're sitting at 106 to 57.
Ooh.
So it's what's that about? Almost 50 points. You still got Aaron Rodgers though. You know,
Emmanuel Sanders.
you're never out of it with Aaron Rodgers and more players. So Aaron Rodgers and Miles Sanders for you.
You got CD Lamb.
CD Lamb. Yeah, ESPN giving me 97% chance to win. So
That's tough.
I'm gonna do it like the political race. I'm calling this one. Week 3 is gonna go to Commish and the Enforcers. But
It's over. It's all good, man. We had a rough week. We'll be back. Trust me. My team has the capability of playing well. I know I'm gonna have a negative record, but hey, that's what I love about fantasy. It's so random. You never know what could happen. Maybe next time I play Chris, he might have his worst week. I might have my good week. So you never know.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And then I'm looking here. Emmanuel Sanders, 23.9 on the bench for you.
Yeah.
Even Melvin Gordon with 14.7 on the bench. So
yeah. Kirk Cousins even put a cool 27. That's solid.
yeah, definitely.
But if I could bring up one thing real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Chris and I are in another league, and I just had to say it's a little something because I'm still the only one undefeated in that league. So I just wanted to bring that up for the viewers. You know, I'm not terrible at fantasy.
100%. Let them know. Definitely.
Formidable, and I think I'm gonna get the win this week too. So it's gonna be a good start in that league.
Definitely, definitely. I'm glad that you brought that up for sure. Because yeah, 3-0 in that league. I was gonna mention that at some point. Your team looking pretty dominant. So good to see it. Let the people know that we're all good fantasy players on this show. I
Oh
would
yeah.
say.
Oh yeah.
So I will touch on Alex's team. I'll give the update for him since he's not here. He's currently down 121 to 78. He does have Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith left tomorrow night, so it's not looking good. But ESPN giving him about 20% chance there, so there's still a shot for him.
It's possible.
But it looks like he's going to lose to one of our good friends and Team Comerica's finest, Alvin Kamara. Great day today. So, but yeah, I mean, we can talk about some of the top performances around the league this week. Talk about some of these players that led us to these victories in fantasy, or maybe you were on the other side of it and they handed you a nice defeat.
Yeah.
But we can start with the quarterback position. Top quarterback on the week so far, Josh Allen, 32 for 43 for 358 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, added on a rushing touchdown for 5 total touchdowns, and a huge win today, 43-21 over our Washington football team. Obviously, Josh Allen is good.
Really good.
Yeah, our defense ain't looking so good, so.
Yeah. Yeah, 5 total touchdowns. I mean, that's a day. That's kind of picking back up from where he left off last year. Almost was able to be the MVP of the league. So I think dude's just going to keep on improving. I mean, he's looking very formidable. He's got the weapons. Cole Beasley, I think he had a day too.
I think 11 catches for 98 yards or something.
Yeah, going crazy. So yeah, he's got the weapons, and I think he's going to be able to keep up the play this season.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We all know if you got Josh Allen in fantasy or starting him every week, he's reliable. Bills are legit, I would say. Number 2 and number 3, I can tie them together here because they played against each other. Matt Stafford came in at number 2, Tom Brady at number 3. Matt Stafford, 27 for 38, 343 yards, 4 touchdowns. Huge day for him. Brady on the other side, 41 for 55, 432 yards. Only 1 touchdown through the air, though. He did add on 14 rushing yards, which I thought that was insane for Tom Brady, and a rushing touchdown. So, good day fantasy-wise, but we will talk about it. The Bucks took their first L of the season. The Rams looked really good today. But like I said, what are your thoughts on the quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, Brady is looking like he's on his way to an MVP this season. I know they took the L today, but dude's been putting up crazy numbers, 3 or 4 touchdowns every single week. They took a loss today, but I mean, the Rams are a formidable team, possible Super Bowl contenders, so it's not really any shame in that. NFL, like you said, is extremely competitive. Anyone can beat anyone, I think, in any given week. So yeah, Matthew Stafford, I think he's a great fit for the Rams, honestly. Just with the weapons they have in Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, they're a good and high-powered offensive team, and I think a team like this could really make some noise deep in the playoffs. But yeah, shout out to both the quarterbacks. Obviously, we know Matthew Stafford has been able to put up huge numbers throughout his career, and Tom Brady. Don't need to really speak on him too much. We know what Tom Brady can do, so no surprise that these guys putting up huge numbers.
Yeah, definitely. And I figure, while we're talking about these guys, we might as well just bring up that game. I thought it was the number 1 game of the week just based on expectations for the teams. It was in Los Angeles. Sorry if you hear my voice kind of cracking a little bit. Long weekend for your boy. I kind of lost my voice this morning when I woke up, so I'm struggling through here, but we're gonna get through it. But like I said, they played this game in Los Angeles. Rams 34-24. They had gotten up 21-7 at one point, and then 28-14. So they kind of kept the Bucks at arm's distance in the second half. Great game all around from the Rams team. Deshaun Jackson 3 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown. He kept getting behind the defense. There was at least 2 or 3 other ones where he had gotten behind the defense and maybe the ball was a little underthrown, or which gave the defensive back a chance to recover and make the play. So that he had a chance in this game for maybe like a huge 200-yard type day, which is crazy. Deshaun Jackson, they kept saying it, 34 years old.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson, he's always been one of those game breaker kind of players, just explosive, kind of not making this comparison, but he could put up like Randy Moss kind of stats where it's just 3 bombs down the field and gets a touchdown in one of them, and the other 2 are 60-yard plays. So he's always been a game changer, and clearly the age hasn't really hampered his speed too much. Obviously, I'm sure he's gotten slightly slower over the years, but I mean, obviously still has game-breaking speed. Like you said, he was getting behind the defense all day. I mean, like with 10 yards in between the defenders. I mean, he's running, zigzagging into the end zone, just showing off. So he's always been one of the most exciting players in the NFL when healthy. I think his health has kind of held him back over the years, but when he's out there, dude's special.
Definitely. And like you said, it's just crazy. I can't get over the fact that he's still doing it. I thought by now he would be done. But sticking on that receiving core in LA, Cooper Kupp, I feel like it's got to be the story of the first 3 weeks. He did it again this week. 9 catches, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wow. Right now, he's the number 2 receiver on the week for fantasy, at least in the scoring format that I was looking at. But what are your thoughts right now on Cooper Kupp? Do we need to respect him more as a maybe top 10 receiver? Maybe even top 5 the way he's playing.
100%, because I think if you paid attention to him like a few years ago, I mean, he was starting to have a breakout season, and I think he had, I don't remember what injury he had, but it definitely slowed his progress down as far as like his production on the field, obviously. But I mean, yeah, I think top 10, I still don't know yet, but I mean, you got to have him in the conversation. Like, he's definitely up there, and as long as he continues to put up numbers like this throughout this NFL season, man, you're gonna have to respect what he's doing. The numbers speak for themselves, and obviously the Rams are a good team, and he's a huge reason why they're getting wins. So, got to respect the guy and what he's doing on the field.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. He's a beast. You got to give him his due. He's a really good receiver right now. And just the addition of Matt Stafford.
Yeah,
I think that's what you're going to say.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think it enhances his play.
100%. Just having a upgraded quarterback, able to get him the ball, it's looking like a perfect match right now.
Yeah.
But we can move to the other side of the ball in that game, the Bucs. I know we talked about Tom Brady in the top quarterback performance, but Mike Evans, 8 catches for 106 yards. Now, they were without AB. He missed the game. Tested positive for COVID this week. Now, geez. But now the Bucs are one of the teams that are 100% vaccinated, so we're expecting him to be back very soon. There was a chance that he could have even played today, but yeah, without AB, it was kind of a struggle today. It wasn't terrible. They still put up 24 points. They didn't turn the ball over or anything like that. The Rams just look like the better team on the field. Is there any concern right now for the Bucs, or do you think these two are the teams to beat in the NFC right now?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think there's any shame in losing to the Rams, especially like we keep mentioning Matthew Stafford with his elite receiving core. I didn't expect the Bucs to go undefeated this season. They're going to take some L's to some teams, probably some teams that they shouldn't even lose to, but I don't think it's any shame losing to the Rams, just based on the fact they've made it deep in the playoffs in recent years. They've been there. They kind of have that DNA in them. So not surprised at all. The Bucs are good. They'll be back though. Once they get AB back, they'll have arguably one of the best receiving cores along with the Rams. So not worried about them. Just a little road bump in their season.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with everything you said. I think we can leave it there for now. Bucs and Rams are still the teams to beat in the NFC. But we can move on, go back to top performances on the week. Running back position, not the names I expected to see up here when I was looking up the stats, but starting number 1 right now in the week, Kareem Hunt, the second running back on the Browns.
Made me mad because I have Nick Chubb.
Yeah, 100%. I think I played against Chubb in a couple leagues, so it was good for me.
Yeah.
But 10 carries for 81 yards, 6 catches for 74 yards in this one. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned, he did have a rushing touchdown as well. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they played the Bears, which with Justin Fields today, Fields didn't look that good. The Bears only scored 6 points, and there was a lot of time in that second half for Kareem Hunt to do his thing. And number 1 on the week. What are your thoughts on Kareem Hunt? Do you feel comfortable like starting him every week in fantasy?
I really don't, but I know, I feel that he's definitely capable of having games like these though. He used to be the starting running back before he got into his off the field ordeal. I mean, dude was a real, like, he was a problem out there. Like obviously his stats showed today, 6 receptions for 74 yards. He's a dual threat. He can do it all. He's tough. He's gritty. Obviously not scared of contact. I mean, he's gonna get down and do his job. So yeah, and it's just good for the Browns. I mean, him and Chubb, that's a pretty elite running back duo. I mean, you're not going to be losing much if one of them is injured. I think both of them can kind of handle a game by themselves. Not obviously like by themselves, but just kind of be the main guy for that games. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me, but it does surprise me. He's kind of like the top performer like of the whole week, kind of. So
yeah, and it's not like those numbers are insane or anything. It just, I think it shows that this was not a running back week.
Yeah, but still, 10 carries and 81 yards. That's actually that's pretty solid.
Yeah, 8.1 a carry. That's amazing. But yeah, moving to number 2, even more surprising of a name to me, Peyton Barber, running back for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, if you didn't know, he was actually on the Washington football team all the way through training camp, through the preseason. Didn't make the final roster. Josh Jacobs was out, but at least me, I expected the Raiders to use Kenyon Drake. They paid him a decent salary in the offseason to come over, but hey, John Gruden decided to use Peyton Barber today, and I can't say it didn't work. 23 carries, 111 yards, a touchdown on the ground, added 3 catches for 31 yards in the passing game. Any interest in picking him up for fantasy?
I still think he's kind of one of those players that you just can't rely on fully. I mean, we would need to see more. Clear, but now he's shown that he's capable, and now he needs to be thought of if you are down some running backs. Say your running backs get hurt. I mean, he's definitely a player to consider because now he's shown that he can kind of be the manager, running back of the game, and kind of just do his thing out there. And obviously, 100 yards, touchdown. That's a great game for. Yeah, that'll work for any team. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he definitely has to be picked up. At least give him a shot. I wouldn't say put him in the starting lineup or your fantasy team this week. Like I said, Josh Jacobs was out, so we got to see if he's going to be able to come back, what the work's going to look like. But yeah, I'd pick him up. But this is shocking to me. I swear,
the Raiders are playing well.
I don't think he had a carry in the preseason, in the regular season, anything for the Washington football team of more than like 2 or 3 yards. He was just just exclusively a power back. So I don't even understand how that happened today, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. The Redskins will find a way to somehow not get the best out of some players. That clearly he obviously could be productive. Just maybe the Redskins weren't putting him in the Washington football team. Sorry, I keep. It's gonna still take me a long time to get used to that, but yeah, it's gonna. Yeah. You know the story with them, and just we get rid of players that end up being great elsewhere, and then it's just, man, why couldn't we just stick it out with them? But it is what it is.
Opposite too, we pick up players that are great elsewhere, and they come here and it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. But
only the Washington football team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could talk about that all day, but we can move on. Talk about James Robinson, running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was the number 3 running back on the week so far. 15 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown. Also added 6 receptions, 46 yards through the air. So solid day for him, about 120, 130 total yards. What are your thoughts on James Robinson and the Jaguars? Are you excited about them at all?
Honestly, I don't really know too much about him, to be honest with you. But obviously he's good enough to be the starting running back for an NFL team, so got to take him into consideration. But honestly, I can't speak too much on him or the Jaguars. I don't ever really focus on them unless they're actually. I like them when they had Jalen Ramsey because he was an exciting player to watch. But yeah, it's just surprising that he's kind of in the top group for running backs this week.
Yeah, like I said at the top of this running back section, those 3 names are definitely not who I expected to see when I was pulling up the stats.
Not at all.
But I will say James Robinson was like a top 5 or at least top 10 running back in fantasy last year, just off of sheer just volume. The Jaguars were so bad. He was the only running back they used. So, I mean, it looks like they're using more running backs this year, so I don't think he's going to be that good. But like you said, he's a starting running back in the NFL. He's going to get the ball. They get near the end zone, he might score a touchdown. So
yeah, 100%.
He could be good.
Yeah, be good. I mean, as long as you're getting the ball, you have a chance to be very productive in the NFL.
Yeah, that's the number one thing for fantasy, I would say. Like,
yeah,
opportunity over talent, but
100%.
It's still good to have talent. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, we can move to the wide receiver position. Some of these names are a little surprising too. Mike Williams from the Los Angeles Chargers. 7 catches, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. Big day for him. What are your thoughts on Mike Williams? You starting him with confidence?
Yeah, I think you could start him with confidence. Honestly, I was able to catch the highlights of this game, and he was dominating out there. He was, and Herbert, that dude he's nice. He's nice. Like, that was like one of the first times I actually kind of like watched him like play, because like obviously being on the East Coast, I don't get a chance to watch that team too often. So watching him play, I'm like, dude is making these throws like it looks like he's been out there for 10 years doing this. So I think Mike Williams could be a safe start in a fantasy. I mean, 222 yards and 2 touchdowns is a huge game. So
definitely blown. I don't have him in any leagues right now.
Yeah, I would have never guessed, but
yeah.
I always think Keenan Allen's going to be the guy, and he's always good.
He's solid. He's really good.
He's solid. Yeah, he's solid. But I feel like he should have had like one of those like big time like breakout years, and he's kind of like, he gets close, but he's never like at that like elite receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I feel like he's like, he's like you say, he's probably never at that like elite receiver, but he's consistently really good. Very good.
Yeah, he's really good. They like a lot of the NFL players say he's one of the best route runners in the league. So
definitely he gets open for sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you got to. You don't even have to be super fast all the time. Just if you can get open, run your routes crisp and technical, like, yeah, that's all that matters.
100%, bro. 100%. Well, we can skip Cooper Kupp for the receivers. He was second on the week. We talked about him with that game a little bit, but third, Emmanuel Sanders. Like I said, another surprise here. 5 catches, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. If you didn't know, he's in Buffalo now playing for the Bills, so he was part of Josh Allen's big day. I don't really want to talk about this one too much. It was a painful game to watch. So you got any thoughts on him?
Well, not too many thoughts, but he's always been one of those very consistent receivers. No matter what team he goes to, he's out there and he's productive, and he makes himself noticeable. But it just pained me that I had him on my bench today. I look in like the beginning of the first quarter. This guy's got like 13 points already. I'm like, wow. Dropped the ball on that one, but that's hard to know when I have receivers that are supposed to do better than what they did today. So
yeah, 100%. There's no way you could have known that it was going to be him. Could have been Beasley. Could have been Gabriel Davis. Could have been Stephon Diggs. I mean, I'm sure it was a lot more likely that it would have been Stephon Diggs. So, I mean, hey, great game for him. I guess it's good for you to have him on the bench.
Yeah,
Shows that he's at least an option. You know, he can have a game. So, shout out to him. But we can move on to the tight ends. Number one, definitely a little bit of a surprise. But Tyler Conklin, tight end for the Minnesota Vikings, 7 catches today for 70 yards and a touchdown. Good for number one on the week so far. Any thoughts on him? You looking to pick him up?
That's a new name for me. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I never heard of that guy. But obviously, he's out there doing his thing. So now he's on my radar, and now I have to actually consider picking him up if I ever get in any tight end bad situation. So.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, the tight end position, I feel like you got Travis Kelce, you got Kittle, Waller. There's a couple other guys, maybe like Hawkinson and Andrews, but outside of that, it's touchdown or bust usually. So, hey, 70 yards. When I see that for a tight end, I get kind of excited. So, like you said, I'm looking into him more, but I'm not expecting too much from him. You know, It's kind of random for tight ends.
Yeah, it might be his best game all season by far. So
it probably is. I'm gonna give it like 75% chance that that's his best game. But yeah, I mean, we can move to number 2. I can probably guarantee you this will not be his best game, and that's Travis Kelce. 7 catches for 104 yards, which is a good game, but you know,
that's how you know he's great. And then when we call 7 receptions, 104-yard game, it's like, he could have did better, though. He could have did better. Still good.
That's a regular day at the office for him.
Right.
And they lost, so, I mean, that's not like him and them, I guess.
Right.
But, yeah, number 3, Mark Andrews, Baltimore Ravens, 5 catches for 109 yards. Good game for him. Ravens pulled out the win in that one. We'll talk about that, but
he's really solid. I like Mark Andrews. He's a real solid tight end. Good hands.
Definitely. I would say outside of the top, like those top 3 we mentioned with Kelce, Kittle, and Waller.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe Hawkinson. I like Hawkinson. He's been looking good for the Lions, but he didn't have a good game today. So I think it's between them two for sure for that 4 spot, which, hey, if you're top 5 at anything, that's really good. So shout out to Mark Andrews. But, yeah, I mean, from there, we can talk about some of these. I just put down like the top 5 games here. We can't really talk about every game because as I'm looking here, we're already 30 minutes in. Gotta be mindful of time a little bit, but we can continue. Really go right back to that Ravens-Lions game where Mark Andrews was playing pretty well. The Ravens in this game, not their best effort, I will say. The Lions took the lead 17-16 with about a minute left. This game got real dicey. Lamar, not the best game for him. 16 for 31, 287, and a touchdown. He had an interception. He was the leading rusher in the game for either team with 7 carries for 58 yards.
Wow, 58 yards is the leading rusher.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a defensive struggle for sure, but like I said, the Lions went up 17-16 late in the ball game, but Lamar got him. I wouldn't even say they were in field goal range, but he got him just close enough for Justin Tucker to hit a 66-yard game-winning field goal. Yes, you heard me correctly. 66 yards. That is the NFL record. If you haven't seen this kick, I've never advised anybody to go watch a field goal, but go watch this one. It was crazy. Hit the crossbar, bounced up real high in the air off of that, and it had enough momentum and passed through the uprights, giving them the 19-17 win in Detroit. Like I said, shouldn't have come to that, but what are your thoughts on this game?
You know, Justin Tucker, believe it or not, has always, fantasy-wise, he's honestly always been one of my favorite low-key players. Dude can get you like 20 points in a given week, get you like 16, 14, 15. So just for fantasy purposes, and obviously, I think statistically, he's the best kicker ever.
Yeah, like
So
in
far.
terms of like most accurate, yeah.
Right, yeah, most accurate. So, man, to break another NFL record, which I'm sure he's got a couple already, do it on a game-winning shot or game-winning kick for 66 yards. That's crazy. That's crazy.
66.
That's mind-blowing, and that's a top. He's got to be up there for just top performance over everybody in the NFL. I get what he can do is limited, but man, give the dude his props for a 66-yarder. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, 100%, man. And you said based on the numbers, he's the most accurate. I'm willing to say after what I've seen today, a 66-yard field goal for the win. Justin Tucker is the best kicker of all time. He has, he's the strongest leg. Like he's over 90% on his kicks. He's the most accurate in NFL history. Regular season, postseason, everything like combined. It doesn't matter. He's always been good. He kicks in Baltimore, which he's not kicking in a dome. He's kicking a lot of times. It's outdoor. It might be rainy, windy,
cold.
We get snow up here in Maryland, so you can look. He's the best kicker of all time. I'm just ready to say it.
I'm not even gonna lie. I actually got mad when I didn't get him in fantasy football. Like he's the one kicker I actually wanted to get on my team, believe it or not. And
100%. That was on here live.
yeah. I really wanted him, but it is what it is. I know my boy Jared, huge Ravens fan, picked him up right before I could get to him. So you got me that time, Jared. If you're listening.
Yeah, shout out to Jared and his Ravens. That was a crazy moment. Actually, my wife. It is actually her birthday today, so if you're listening, babe, happy birthday.
Tell her I said happy birthday.
Definitely. But but the reason I mentioned that is we had her family over, did our thing, cake and ice cream, everything. But her one of her younger brothers, about 15 years old, he's a Ravens fan, roots for them. So he came in with the game on, about 2 minutes left in the game. So we watched that ending, and just shout out to all the Ravens fans out there, because the excitement on his face, like that joy of just winning the game in that fashion, like you love to see it, no better feeling.
Yeah, I low key sometimes support the Ravens just because they're a Maryland team. So yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah, if it depends who they play.
Sometimes.
But yeah, I mean, we can move off that game. Get into another game here. The Chargers at the Chiefs.
This game was exciting.
Yeah, unbelievable. The Chargers pulled out the win 30-24, moving them up to 2-1. This drops the Chiefs down to 1-2, their second straight loss.
No one would have thought. Definitely.
Also, that makes them last place in the AFC West, which has been pretty competitive. The other two teams that weren't playing in this game are 3-0. So Chiefs in last place in division. Haven't been able to say that since they said 2015. I think that's what they said on the broadcast. So weird game. Just getting into the game, though. 4 turnovers for the Chiefs. 2 picks from Mahomes. 2 fumbles lost. One by Clyde Edwards-Helaire. One by Tyreek Hill. So they're premier players turning the ball over in this one. I do want to mention Andy Reid also was taken to the hospital after the game. They said he felt ill. The story I read on ESPN was making it out seem like they weren't too concerned, but got to keep an eye on that. That's big for a team, man. The coach going to the hospital, he's one of the best coaches in the league, so even if he wasn't, heart goes out to him and his family. Hopefully he's good there, but not a good game for the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's pretty uncharacteristic for the Chiefs to make all these turnovers. One of the highlights that actually just showed up on my YouTube feed was Mahomes, another sick play, accurate ball, receiver didn't catch it, got through his hands, got picked off, which I mean, it kind of like makes Mahomes just like, why are you doing that? Like, just throw the ball, but at the end of the day, I think it was actually a good throw. It was accurate. It was definitely catchable. It was just one of those unfortunate plays, and obviously turnovers are it's going to be hard to win. And yeah, what's the name? Mike Williams played like amazing this game. Cornerbacks for Kansas City couldn't really do much with him. Tyreek Hill had a decent game, but obviously the fumble is gonna hold you back a little bit. And Herbert honestly he just looked elite out there. Looks like he's going to be an exciting player for me to watch. Like I said, I don't really see him play too often, but when I watched his highlights today, I was very, very impressed. And Mahomes struggled a little bit this game. Still had 3 touchdowns. Interception that wasn't his fault. His second one was like, I don't know why he threw that one, but it is what it is. Everyone throws them at the quarterback position. So good, exciting game though. And maybe now do we have to look at the Chargers as maybe a contender? I mean, are they elite, or are they kind of just got hot today and then?
See, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question because I don't know how to view them. Week 1, they obviously played us in Washington. They won the game 20-16. Herbert, I thought, looked really good, but I thought we had a lot of opportunities, and I thought we handed them the football game, so I didn't think they looked that great. But week 2, they lost to the Cowboys. Their run defense looked very bad. The Cowboys, both Zeke and Tony Pollard, ran all over them. So, I don't know. I still think this team is like a good team. They got good talent, but I also don't think they're like a great team that's going to be consistent. I still think that they can lose to a lot of teams, but I do think they have the talent. They showed today that they can beat the Chiefs, and I guess if they can beat the Chiefs, they can beat a lot of teams in the league. So they're definitely playoff contenders to me, but I wouldn't quite say they're Super Bowl contenders.
Right, yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah. Last point on this game I wanted to make, because the fantasy community, especially myself, drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a few leagues, we've been very down on him. He looked bad, like awful the first 2 weeks. I know people were benching him for names that you would never bench a starting running back for, but he bounced back this week. 17 carries for 100 yards. He did have 2 catches for 9 yards, but one of them was a touchdown. So I did mention he fumbled earlier, so that wasn't good. But 100 rushing yards, I think look, if you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire and you've been scared and worried like I was, I think it's a good sign. We can play him next week.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, moving on from there, we can talk about the Dolphins-Raiders game. I put this one in here because went to overtime. Actually took the whole entire 10 minutes of overtime to decide it. Raiders finally pulled it out 31-28. Both teams kicked field goals on their first possessions in overtime. So obviously if you get the ball first, kick a field goal, other team gets a chance, which is what happened in this one. Raiders kicked a field goal, Dolphins kicked one, and then Raiders drove back down, ran the timeout, and kicked the last one. So Raiders 3-0. Are they for real? Just straight up, are they for real?
I don't know if they're for real, but I think they have I think they might have elite coaching. I think that Gruden is able to put themselves. Maybe they're not executing all the time, but he's able to keep them in the game, give them a chance to win every single game. And I think that's just really important, have all your players in the right places and just having them in positions to just be successful. And I really feel like the coaching is a huge reason why the Raiders are doing well. I mean, sure, they got some nice players, Derek Carr, Waller, but I don't know. I think the coaching, I think this is why they hired Gruden. I think he's actually like a really good coach. And I don't know, they're squeaking out all these real close victories. So I don't know if they're for real. Like, I kind of feel like they're in the range of the Chargers. Like they're good, but they're just not elite. They don't have necessarily the talent. Yeah, I know Waller's pretty much like a receiver, honestly. He's out there running all over the place.
Beast.
Yeah, he's nice. But besides him and Carr, and they got Jacobs, who's definitely been a top running back. So they got the pieces, but I still don't see them being like an elite team.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think they're like for real Super Bowl contenders. personally, if I'm still picking playoff teams, I still probably wouldn't even pick them to go to the playoffs. But they're solid. Look, 3-0. They beat the Ravens week 1. Great win. Got to give that to them. I can't remember who they played last week, but this game against the Dolphins, they got Jacoby Brissett, and Tua was obviously out with injury. Jacoby Brissett wasn't awful, but, I mean, 215 yards, 32 for 49. The fact that they were in overtime with this team who the Bills just blew off the field last week, 35-0.
Right.
Look, Raiders were like 6-2 last year and ended up not making the playoffs. I see something similar happening this year. I don't trust them. I still don't.
They beat Pittsburgh in week 2, by the way.
Oh, hey, look, good win, man. I think me and Alex did talk about that, and I did say, look, those are 2 good wins, and I still don't trust them. I can't do it. Me and Derek argued about this all summer. If you're a OG fan of this podcast and you've been listening to us, through all of our episodes and everything, you will remember me and Derek had big arguments about Derek Carr. I was not on the Derek Carr train. I will say he's playing very good. Another 386 yards today.
It's a big game.
So I can't hate on him as much as I have. I still look. I thought Jimmy Garoppolo was better, and I can't say that he's like actually not. They're 2-0. They're on right now playing against the Packers, but he looks. I would say Carr looks better this year. So Derek, I know you're probably listening, man. You got it, bro. I'll hold back on that one for a while.
And every time I see Derek Carr come up, they always throw out the stat where he's I don't remember exactly, but he's always up there in the game tying, game winning drives. He's been since he's came into the league, or since whenever they, how ESPN does their random stats in the last 5 years.
Fourth quarter comebacks or whatever.
Yeah. ESPN always comes up with one of those stats with him. So I mean, it's still something that it's notable. So he's out there performing, getting the wins, and at the end of the day, just getting the wins is the most important thing.
100%. Last note on this game, jeez, struggling, guys. But last note on this one, Dolphins dropped down to 1-2. So I know people had some high hopes for them going into the season. Like I said, Tua's hurt. They're rolling with Jacoby Brissett, so it's not looking too good down in Miami right now. But the last game that I really felt like we had to talk about, Colts at Titans. The Titans won this game 25-16, moving them to 2-1. The real reason I want to talk about this game, the Colts have now dropped to 0-3. What are your thoughts right now on Carson Wentz and the Colts? Because it's going pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Colts are one of those teams I kind of stopped paying attention to when Andrew Luck went out and kind of when Peyton Manning went out. I just wasn't super interested in them. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Carson Wentz's numbers right now. I mean, 19 for 37 for 194 yards, dude. I mean, I know some really believed in it. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I know a lot of people believed in him when he was in Philly, but now he's got another team, new situation, and 0-3 start. And I mean, there's not much to say about that. I mean, he's not getting the job done, man. And I know the Titans are good. The Titans got a lot of weapons. Derrick Henry didn't even have his best game, but I mean, still extremely productive, 113 yards. So, no surprise. I would have expected the Titans to get this win.
Yeah, I mean, look, as far as the Colts go, I feel like their division is the Colts, the Titans, the Texans, and the Jaguars. And look, we don't expect the Texans and the Jaguars. We don't expect much from them at all. So I thought coming in season is going to be between the Titans and the Colts, but hey, the Colts are 0-3, and they're already 2 games behind the Titans, who 2-1. Obviously, that means that this would give the Titans a tiebreaker right now over the Colts. So they're digging themselves a nice little hole here.
Yep.
And just looking at the teams and on paper and what I saw on the field today, I think the Titans are the better team. Moving forward, I think they should clearly be the favorites to win this division. But, man, I did not expect 0-3 for the Colts. But, yeah, man, we can move on from there. We can just give the scores for the rest of these games. Maybe if you had any thoughts on them, you can chime in here. But Bills beat the Washington football team, our hometown Washington football team, 43-21.
Yikes, that's a lot of points to give up.
Yeah, I was supposed to have a good defense.
Yeah.
3 weeks in, I haven't seen it. I don't know. I don't know if you. Yeah. We live right here, pretty close to DC. Have you heard anything from Chase Young? Like, have you seen him?
Hey, man,
I'm looking for him.
Yeah, man. I mean, I went to the game week 2. I mean, I saw him out there, but I don't know if he was out there making plays because I wasn't hearing his name getting called too much. But hey, I mean, he's still the leader of a defense. Hopefully, he can pick it back up because I know he's supposed to be that game changer kind of JJ Watt kind of player. But yeah, we actually need to see it.
Yeah, 100%, man. Look, I'm not saying that he's not gonna do it, but
right.
Through 3 weeks, we got problems. the D line doesn't look good. The secondary, the linebackers look atrocious. Just not very many bright spots in this game.
Right. Yeah.
Including offensively, I thought Taylor Heineke looked terrible today. He had at least. I know he threw at least 2 picks, but he had at least like 3 other ones that could have easily been picked too. So
yeah, he's liable. Bro.
We're in trouble, man. I'm ready to say it. We got Atlanta next week though, so winnable game.
Winnable, but dude,
losable.
Losable. The one game that we should win, it's probably going to be the one that we almost guaranteed to lose.
That's factual. Like that's historically factual.
But then we'll squeak by and like beat a solid team randomly.
We'll beat somebody good this season. Don't worry. Yeah. Like we'll probably once our season's over, then we're ruining it
right
for someone else.
It's like they just had that end of the season mentality at the beginning. I mean, just put it all together for one whole season and you could easily win the division. But no, we have to make it competitive in order for it to be a Washington football team kind of season.
Oh yeah, we can never just be a good team and just like do things the right way.
I didn't feel like that in the individual games. Like I never feel like they just dominate a game and just win from like first score to last, like to the end of the clock. I feel it's always something.
Oh, every morning. I know we're getting off on a tangent here, but I will say that every morning when I wake up, I don't know, whenever I get up until 1 o'clock, it doesn't matter who we're playing. We could be playing the worst team in the league. I'm a nervous wreck, man. I'm like, we gonna lose today. Yeah. Like it's just, man, we just performances like this. It reinforce, years and years of heartache.
That moment we lost to Detroit years ago when they were just the worst team. That's when I truly knew. I was like, I can't expect almost anything out of this team. But then when we win, I'm going to be extremely happy. I'm going to be like those annoying Cowboys fans that are just, I have to be.
We might as well. That's all we get, man. I look at it like everywhere we get, this might be the last one for a while. Right. So.
It's sad.
But yeah, we can move off the team. The Falcons beat the Giants this week, 17-14. Game-winning field goal in that one. Cardinals beat the Jaguars, 31-19. Interesting note, I will say, the Cardinals attempted the longest field goal of the week this week. They attempted a 68-yarder at the end of the first half, which was not long enough, and it got returned for a touchdown by the Jaguars.
109 yards.
109 yards. Yeah, tied for longest play in NFL history.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Bright spot for the Jaguars. The first one we mentioned, I think, this season.
Yeah.
So.
That is probably going to be one of the best plays all season. So shout out to them for that at least.
100%. That dude Agnew, that return that they have, he's been on a few teams. He seems like he always gets at least one return touchdown a year.
Playmaker.
But yeah, I mean, moving on. Vikings beat the Seahawks 30-17. That was a good game for them. Bengals beat the Steelers 24-10.
Steelers are struggling.
Yeah, intriguing game there. Steelers dropped to 1-2, Bengals 2-1. So probably not what most people expected coming into the year.
Chase on the Bengals.
He looks real.
He's balling.
I'm happy for him too. He was dropping those passes in the preseason. That people were giving him a lot of stuff. So
that's how you quiet him.
100%. From there, Jameis Winston and the Saints beat the Patriots 28-13. Jameis up week 1 up, week 2 way down, week 3 back up.
It's the most roller coaster kind of player in the NFL, probably.
We'll see what happens week 4. But yeah, Browns beat the Bears. I mentioned that one a little earlier, 26-6. Justin Fields' first career start didn't go too great, but we'll see. I still have high hopes for him. The Broncos shut out the Jets 26-0.
How are you getting shut out? I'm sorry. How are you getting shut out in the NFL? How can you not get in the field? That's almost amazing to me. Like, you couldn't get in the field goal range and actually just make a field goal. Not once.
Right. They have kick, like every NFL team has kicker that can make it at least like up to 50. Right. So that just means you have to get inside the 35. Like
that's unbelievable to me. No team should be getting shut out in the NFL.
Yeah, the Jets look bad.
Yeah.
I don't think Zach Wilson was ready to play, and they've just thrown him out there, and now they don't have any like veteran options to put in. I kind of feel bad. I think he needs to just sit back and watch some film for a little while. I don't think he's ready, especially with the talent around him. He can't do this.
Man, I couldn't even name you anyone he's throwing the ball to be honest. So.
Let me see. Corey Davis? Any interest in Corey Davis?
Yeah.
Or
I've heard of him.
Who? Second rookie? What was his name? The Elijah Moore?
I've heard of him too. So.
Yeah. I think he needs an offensive line, but
yeah, he needs a lot.
And I was gonna say he needs probably everything. But yeah, moving on. The last game, Panthers beat the Texans 24-9. That was on Thursday Night Football. A big news from that one: Christian McCaffrey hurt his hamstring. Waiting to see the severity of that. So rough.
Yeah, he's on one of my fantasy teams, folks. So yeah, that hurt when I was like, what? How does he still have 5 in the third? Because I wasn't watching the game, and I was like, no way, he still has 5. And then obviously injury. So it's unfortunate. I hope he can get back soon because injury kind of held him back last year. And we all know the kind of dynamic player he is. Arguably could be the best when healthy. So
yeah, even the play he got hurt on, he was about to put a nasty juke on one of the Texas defenders, and then he just had to pull up because like his hamstring said no. Unfortunately,
Panthers still undefeated though. So
yeah, and that's a good point. It leads us to next segment here. I was just gonna list off these 3-0 teams here, and just quickly, we can go contender or pretender. Are these teams real or are they not? Starting with the 3-0 Las Vegas Raiders.
I'm going to go pretender.
Me too, pretender.
I think they're in a good groove now, but just don't see them with that kind of consistency for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. Denver Broncos, 3-0.
Gotta say pretender too, man. I just don't believe in them.
Yeah, same. They played, I believe, the Giants. I know they played the Jets today, and they played somebody equally as bad last week. So, pretender to me for sure. Carolina Panthers, who you just mentioned, 3-0.
I mean, they're kind of interesting because I like what they're doing with the quarterback position, and obviously they have arguably the best running back. I mean, you can make an argument for a few others, but I don't know. I kind of like the Panthers. I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders, but I could see them possibly making some noise in the playoffs if they can keep this up and if Christian McCaffrey can get back healthy again.
Hey, we're in sync on this one because it's like you took the words right out of my mouth. Like I don't see them going like to the Super Bowl or anything, but they can make the playoffs, maybe win a playoff game.
Yeah, I can see him maybe win a playoff game.
But yeah, the McCaffrey injury I think is concerning. So we gotta see how long he's gonna be out. Los Angeles Rams 3-0.
I think they're a contender. I think we've talked about this plenty of times. They have an elite wide receiver core, solid at the running back position. I'm not going to say an elite quarterback, but I'm going to say the level right under that. So I think they're contenders.
100%. I think they're definitely contenders for the whole thing. I agree with that. Matt Stafford's maybe not like the elite of the elite. He's not in that like inner circle, but he's right on the outside of that. I feel like he's at least good enough that if you have a good team, you can win the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford as your quarterback. So
And they have the best defensive player.
Yeah, I was gonna say they have a really good team. Best defensive player in the league right now. Some people say he has a chance to be the best defensive player of all time, Aaron Donald. I would definitely say Jalen Ramsey's the best corner in the NFL. So, I mean, that's two players that are best at their position on defense. Like,
That's scary.
and they have other players, but like, I just feel like once you have those like building blocks, especially one defensive line, one corner in today's passing league that we're in, I think they're set up for success. And then the offensive side of the ball, we talked about the weapons already earlier. Talked about Matt Stafford. They didn't even have their starting running back, Darrell Henderson, in this one. Mm-hmm. And even going back, if you want to be technical, before that, they haven't had their starting running back all season in Cam Akers, who went down before the season even started. So I just think this is a really good team right here. And I think it's going to be between them and the Bucs going down the stretch.
I'd agree with that. Like, Aaron Donald is one of the few defensive tackles I'm like, let me watch this guy's highlights. He's fun to watch if you actually focus on him.
Dude, 100%. He's like, he looks kind of small in there. Like when you first look at him and you see him like on the line, like lining up, you wouldn't think like this is the best defensive lineman in the NFL, but he's dominant, man. He is strong. He is quick. His moves are just
the technique is just different level.
Yeah, 1-on-1, the offensive line stands no chance.
Not a single chance.
But yeah, I mean, I could talk about Aaron Donald all day. But we do got two more teams, both from that same division. I almost said St. Louis Cardinals. Almost a baseball call right there. But the Arizona Cardinals 3-0 after today's victory.
I'm not gonna say Super Bowl contender, but I for some reason I trust. Like, I'm really starting to trust Kyler Murray. Like, I love the way the dude plays the game, man. He's exciting to watch, and he's not like he's just not afraid of the moment. He's got some good weapons. Obviously, he's got Hopkins, so I don't know. I can see this team. I mean, their defense. I don't really know too much about the defense, but I think their defense, they might be good enough. They might be an average defense in the NFL. So that, along with the dynamic offense, if they're able to keep that up, man, they could be a formidable team that could surprise some of these teams that we are picking to win the Super Bowl, I think.
100%. That's pretty much where I'm at. Like, Oh, were you about to say something else?
No, I was just gonna last thing. I was just gonna say they can put up points.
Definitely, they can definitely do that. But yeah, I was just gonna say that I don't see them up with the Rams and the Bucs right now. I would want to see it for a few more weeks here, see some more consistency. They weren't even in the playoffs last year, so I'm not going to just jump out there and be like, this team could go all the way. But outside of those two teams, the Bucs and the Rams in the NFC, I think they got as good a chance as anybody else. And I think, like you said, they can put up points. I really trust Kyler Murray. He's proving to me why he was the number one pick. His running ability, I would probably say, the only person in the league right now is better at the quarterback position would be Lamar Jackson. Yeah. And even that is questionable. If he ran as much as Lamar, maybe we weren't having this conversation. But the way he throws and runs and the way he is so quick, like when he runs, doesn't really seem to take big hits. I love Kyler Murray. I think the Cardinals are for real.
He kind of reminds me of Russell Wilson a little bit, but just a little bit quicker. And obviously at this point in his career, he's just younger. So I think he's just a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Glad you brought that up. Alex mentioned it too when we were talking about him last week. So, like I said, we're going to continue watching that comparison. And at the end of the season, we definitely got to go pull up their numbers side by side and see, what's going on with that. Because I really do love that comparison for sure. But the last one, San Francisco 49ers, they're actually only 2-0. They're playing right now against the Packers. And just for full disclosure, when we're recording this, we're 1 minute and 5 seconds left in the second quarter. Packers are up 10-0 on the 49ers. So, contender or pretender?
I think
this is tough, man. I want to say contender, but I don't believe they're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't think their quarterback is good enough. We saw what Jimmy Garoppolo did in the Super Bowl. He couldn't really do anything.
He missed a few passes that could have won it.
Yeah. That's just his level. That might be the best level he could play at. Maybe he improved a little bit, but I just think he's going to be the reason why they can't get over that little hump. I think they can win some playoff games, but not a Super Bowl contender. I don't think they can win.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that too. And as you were saying, that the Packers actually scored another touchdown, go up 17-0. So they seem to be getting exposed here on Sunday Night Football. Obviously, we're recording this, so I haven't really had a chance to watch it. But yeah, I think they're a good football team. They can make the playoffs, but look, I don't like them as much as like we just talked about the Cardinals or obviously the Rams. I think they're more with some of those teams that we said are pretenders, but I mean, I got a little bit more confidence in the Niners than teams like the Panthers and the Raiders and Broncos. So they're somewhere in the middle there. But yeah, I mean, look, we can move on. Going a little over this week, but that's okay. We got a lot of news to talk about. We got to talk some combat sports here before we get out of here. Obviously, look, if you like the NFL, like the content that we were putting out, or you got anything that you disagree with, want to give your opinion on, go ahead and let us know at AVG Sports Nerds on TikTok, Instagram, any of those platforms that you follow us on, even here on YouTube. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. We want to know what you think on the NFL. We also want to know what you think about these combat sports, which I got to start in boxing. British heavyweight Anthony Joshua loses to Alexander Usyk. I think I said the name right. That one didn't seem too bad.
Yeah.
But unanimous decision. This is tragic to me as a fan of the sport. Like you mentioned before, we had on previous episodes we had been waiting to see him versus Tyson Fury. Now that Fury had beat Wilder, it kind of set up the fight for, who's really the best. Now we have this happen. Anthony Joshua is losing to this guy Usyk. He's no scrub. Don't get me wrong. He's actually a good heavyweight. He's that I feel like that next tier below those top three that we had been talking about. But this is devastating. What are your thoughts right now on Anthony Joshua?
This is kind of reminiscent of the Andy Ruiz loss that he took. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone expected him to lose to this guy. I'm not even gonna lie. I follow boxing. I'm not the like a Max Kellerman kind of in-depth level of boxing, but I follow it pretty decently. And I've never heard of this guy. I'm not even gonna lie. I just never heard of him. But obviously he's clearly a formidable. He's now the heavyweight champion. He's not the lineal champion. He hasn't beat the champ, but
He has 3 out of the 4 major belts off of this.
And I can get in a whole tangent about the belts in boxing. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't even make sense for someone to have 3 different belts. it needs to be like the UFC.
Just one belt. Like, we just need one belt at every weight class.
It would make it so much more competitive, and then the fights would be so much more meaningful because it's like people are winning titles, and then it's like, okay, yeah, he won the WBO, and then the IBF champion is fighting all the way across the world. It's like, what? Why aren't they fighting each other though? Nobody wants to see them fighting contenders. We want to see champions fighting champions. But anyways, yeah, like you mentioned, this ruined the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua, and I think they already tried to make this fight happen, and I think something on Anthony Joshua's and didn't fall through. And
well, I think Tyson Fury had to there was a rematch clause,
right?
So he actually had to fight Deontay Wilder.
Fury's fine, man. Why did I even have to do this, man? I already beat this dude, but I want to see that rematch again because I feel like that's the best matchup in heavyweight for boxing. I mean, we all know there's not that many heavyweights that are in that upper echelon of
those are
fighters.
The only three we wanted to see. Yeah. Like you said, Usyk is good, but like nobody, the casual fan doesn't even really know him. Like they might not have ever even heard of him, but those three is who we wanted to see. And now I feel like at least Fury and Wilder, like they're not losing to anybody else. If they lose, it's going to be to one of each other. But
that's what I'm saying.
Anthony Joshua, man, I don't know, man. I thought he was soft before this. And look, I don't have the respect for him. I don't think he would be either Wilder or Fury.
I don't think so either. I think he's honestly like, I understand the rematch clause with the Fury. I mean with the Wilder fight, but I think he's ducking them for years.
Oh, he definitely didn't want to see Wilder. He didn't want that power.
Oh no. Because I mean, you can look at his record. He doesn't have that many fights, and neither does Fury though. Now that I think about it,
but Fury took like 2 or 3 years off with all the addiction stuff and the
true that.
Like Wilder, I mean, with
Wilder was
Joshua has no excuse. He fights like twice a year, or like sometimes not even that. Like, dude,
just fighting but in essentially fighting nobodies. That's what I don't respect about it. Like he's
and he got the titles fight. Like you said, we can get into how you get the titles and everything, but
I mean,
he only got the titles because Fury had to back off.
Right, yeah, facts.
That's the only reason he had the titles in the first place, and that's why Fury was always the lineal champion because nobody ever beat him.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, Joshua, man, he's soft. I'm sorry. Look, if any British people listen, I know the British, they love them some Anthony Joshua. But I'm telling you, he didn't want that smoke with our American boy Deontay Wilder. Period.
Didn't even want to smoke with Fury.
Nobody wants to smoke with Fury. I'll tell you that now. Fury's the best one out of the three, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I love listening to Fury's interviews. He's a funny guy. Like
He's the best.
He reminds me of Conor McGregor a little bit just because of the accent. He's just got the heavy accent, and he's a good trash talker. And Conor McGregor's not the best, but he's the best. And I think it's cool when you can back up your trash talk and you're just good at trash talk. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Not a fan of Anthony Joshua.
And look, last point on this. I know we got to go along on the boxing talk here, but I didn't think anybody would ever, take my play. Like, fighting against Deontay Wilder, I think I could ever be like, oh man, like I'm okay with this guy winning. I'm a big Deontay Wilder fan. I love just his knockouts. They're exciting to watch. It's exciting to see a big, almost 300-pound man just crumble to the floor.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Tyson Fury literally like stole my fandom, man. He's like you said, he's hilarious. His interviews are great, and just the way he boxes, he just showed me he's a way better boxer than Deontay Wilder.
Yeah. He pummeled Wilder in that second fight.
It's the technique. I feel like Wilder's just more athletic. He got like the physical gifts, but Tyson Fury skilled.
Right, yeah, he hasn't put it all together.
Yeah. But we can move off boxing, one combat sport to another. Talk a little bit about what happened at UFC this weekend. I wasn't really into it this weekend. I had a lot going on with my wife's birthday and everything, so I'm gonna let you take away these fights.
Yeah, I mean, this was a huge UFC card, man. These cards was what makes the what makes the UFC great. You put the champions against the number one contenders, and it's no beating around the bush. You signed the contract, we're fighting. So Alexander Volkanovski beat Brian Ortega, featherweight championship. this was a great fight. I mean, Volkanovski, I think he just dominated every round. He was putting the pressure on. He was landing more of the punches. He did more of the damage. But I think it was in the 4th round, he almost got caught in a nasty guillotine choke. Then Brian Ortega switched to a triangle choke. And Brian Ortega's jiu-jitsu is next level type stuff. So the fact that Volkanovski was able to escape an actual triangle attempt, it was amazing. He got out of it, just continued to beat him up. And by the end of the fight, Brian Ortega's face just looked black and blue, just for all the bruising. I mean, he was taking some nasty ground and pound. And Volkanovski is now beaten Max Holloway, who was arguably the greatest featherweight, beat him twice. I don't think he won the second fight, but that's for another story. I watched that fight very closely. I definitely don't think he won that second fight. But yeah, he put on a performance. He's the champ. He's dominating at 145. I don't think anyone can do anything with him except Max Holloway, and he's already beat him twice. So that kind of says something. And yeah, did you want to say anything or?
Nah, yeah, like I agree with that with the Max Holloway thing. That's the only competition. And like you said, they already beat him twice. So
it's like who else? Maybe he moves up. Maybe he moves down. So
see, this is what I like about UFC. I will say this is that, like we mentioned about boxing, it's hard to get everybody to fight each other and everything. But now, like, this dude's fought everybody. We can say, like, in this weight class, Volkanovski's the man.
Yeah, oh yeah, easily.
Like, he's the man until somebody beats him.
Yeah, straight up. Because I don't think anyone can, because his striking is too good. He controls distance too well, and he's powerful. I mean, the dude used to honestly be 200 pounds. He used to be a rugby player. So the fact that he was able to cut his weight down to 145 and fight at that weight class is, in and of itself, that's a pretty amazing feat. So
definitely, dude. I'm 200 pounds now. I couldn't imagine being 145.
Right.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, but second championship fight, Valentina Shevchenko. It didn't even matter who she was fighting. Anyone at 125, she's crushing them. It's not. Her technique is so far beyond everyone else's. She's a better grappler. She's a better striker. Better jiu-jitsu. She's doing whatever she wants to. Any girl in 225 or 125. She's actually one of my favorite fighters to watch. Her technicality on everything she does, her combos, it's truly just amazing. And she just dominates. And the only lady that could beat her is Amanda Nunes, and she tried to go up to 135. Amanda Nunes was too much. Amanda Nunes she's the GOAT. You're not taking, no one's taking anything from her at 135 or 145. So, but Valentina Shevchenko is definitely the queen of 125. There's no one left for her. There's no one left for her to fight except for Amanda Nunes, and I don't think she can beat Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes is too big. She's too powerful. But this girl, I think she won by TKO 4th round. So, champion. She's a class act. I love her interviews. She's one of the best martial artists, men or women.
100%.
And then classic fight. This fight happened almost 20 years ago.
It's the one I was most excited for this weekend.
Yeah, no, this fight I think was honestly the most hyped, even though it didn't have the highest stakes. But this is what everyone wanted to see. Robbie Lawler is just if you like fighting, watch Robbie Lawler fight. Dude is he's a brawler. That's just what he does. He doesn't even care. He's not trying to get no unanimous decision. It's only KOs. It's not even any submission. Not even any submissions. Dude only wants the KO, and if that, he's not even satisfied, even if he gets the win. But Robbie Lawler defeated Nick Diaz TKO. I think it was the 4th round too. It could have been 3rd. I don't really remember. But Nick Diaz, it was a weird shot. Like Robbie Lawler caught him with like a hook, and then Diaz went down, and then he kind of just stayed down, and then it was weird. It's just like he kind of just gave up at that point. Like I'm obviously, the punch obviously hurt him. It just didn't look like it did. And they were both a good sport about it in the end. So
I mean, if I may, I'm not 100% sure here. Help me out. Nick Diaz was gone for a while, right?
Yeah. He I think he had a 4 or 5 year layoff since his last fight.
Cause that was what I was gonna say. I saw the highlights and when he went down. And I think once that punch it just took too much out of him energy wise. I just think he didn't have any more left in the tank. I don't think his conditioning was up where it would have been, in the past. So
yeah, he you saw his physical shape. He didn't look like it didn't look like he was really ready to fight. I mean, yeah, and for those of you who don't know, he's the older brother of Nate Diaz, also extremely exciting fighter at welterweight 170. But I would have put a lot of money if I was a betting man in UFC that Robbie Lawler was going to win this fight. He's been way more active, and he was literally the former champion at 170. And it was weird because they were supposed to fight at 170, and then
he couldn't make weight, right?
Right, yeah. So then Nick Diaz wanted to fight at 185, and it wasn't really a big problem for Robbie Lawler because he probably walks around at 190 anyways. He probably is walking around close to 200, and a lot of these fighters are cutting like 30 pounds to make their weight classes. So I don't 100%. Think it was an issue. Yeah, I don't think it was an issue for Robbie Lawler to fight at 185. He was just like, nah, I was ready to fight at 170 because that's the weight class I fight at. Yeah, that's
I didn't like that at all. I thought that was a bad sign.
Yeah, that's unprofessional.
The week leading up. Yeah, when he couldn't get down to the weight. Look, Nick Diaz, he had a great career back in the day, man. He was electric. He was one of the first.
Pioneer of the sport, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, along with guys like John Jones, Anderson Silva, he was literally like one of the first people I knew about in the UFC. So, great career, but it didn't look good for him, and I think it's coming to an end.
And he did say if he loses, he's gonna get back in it. But I'm like, dude, you're definitely not beating none of the top 185. One of the top. You're not beating any of the top 5 middleweights. Don't even think about that. Even at 170, I mean, he's gonna he's not doing nothing with Kamaru Usman. He's not doing nothing with Kobe Covington.
Look, fighting UFC is one of the sports when you lose a little bit, it's over. Yeah, it's over. These guys are too good.
Yeah, and there's just too many people coming up in it too. There's so many young fighters. There's a guy fighting at he was 19 fighting. I'm like, that's incredible. I mean, this dude's fighting
hungry, man.
Yeah, I'm like, that's dude's fighting 30-year-old men, and he's 19 is barely even a man. Like that's incredible to me. So yeah, you got a lot of young lions coming up, and you taking 5 years off of sport this brutal, like the training, not even just the fight itself, the training to get to this, to get to that point, it's too much. It's too much wear and tear.
Yeah, man. Look, if you take 5 years off from anything, even if something that's not physical, you're not gonna come in and be at the top of the competition level. How about not play fantasy football for 5 years and you go to your draft? Let's see how good it goes for you. You could study up all off season, but if you haven't been doing it for the last 5 years, you're gonna be at a way big disadvantage. So 100%. Even more so from a physical sport. So yeah, it's sad for me to see Nick Diaz looking the way he did this weekend.
Yeah, and then just one more fight that happened. I can't even remember who her opponent was, but Jessica Andrade, I believe she won via TKO. She's one of the only contenders to even beat Valentina Shevchenko, and Shevchenko beat her in her last fight before this one. So, I mean, she might be in line for another title shot, but she's just in line to just take another L, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. But yeah, I mean, I guess from there, that's all we got in the UFC world. I think that's all the news we have for this show. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on before we get out of here?
No, I think we covered all the main stuff.
Definitely. Look, if you made it this far, we're at an hour and 24 here, so we went decent amount over tonight. So if you made it this far, we definitely appreciate the support. I feel like I need to do something for you. If you made it this far, look, I don't know. I'm posting on the next post on our Instagram page. Comment, say we made it. I'm shouting out every single person that says we made it. So if you made it this far, you will be shouted out in the next episode. Go ahead and give us that comment. Let us know that somebody's listening. It would be it'll just feel good for all of us here.
Yeah.
At the Average Sports Nerds with that. But yeah, like I said, You guys are all true sports nerds like us. We appreciate all the support. If you want to continue following us, want more updates on our streams, on our podcast episodes, you can follow us on Instagram at AVG Sports Nerds. We're also on TikTok at AVG Sports Nerds. I know, Miles, you put up a good video this week on Ben Simmons and that situation, so
check it out, folks.
Definitely go check that out.
Let's hear. I want to hear your thoughts in the video. It's for you guys to talk back with us and have a conversation with us. So love to hear anyone's thoughts.
100%. So follow us there, TikTok, AVG Sports Nerds. Like I said, at Instagram, AVG Sports Nerds. Here on YouTube, subscribe to the channel and be ready because we're going live every Sunday night at 8:30. We'll be here next week. Yeah, just keep nerding it up.